Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube friends. Welcome back to Reference Tuesday. I'm your host, Robin, and here I am. We're going to reference Audrey Hepburn again, continuing from the last video. So, from the last video, we learned how to do the structures of the head based on Audrey Hepburn's face that we see here. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to the previous video. Now we're going to learn more about values. So naturally, after you've done all the sketching, all the line art, the next thing you have to do is the coloring, right? Before we get deep into the values, I'm going to do a quick sketch on the rest of her features, alright? So here we have the hair. I'm going to just swift this quickly because we're going to talk about this in probably another reference video if the hair is better. I mean, like, you can reference the hair more than this, okay? So first the hair. The hair generally has to envelope this space. So we had this cowl thing for the ear. Add a little bit of space and yeah, the hair is around there. But since we're referencing directly from the picture, the hair is kind of flat on the head. So you just need a little bit of volume here, right? You just need a little bit of volume here. And since the hair is tied back, it's kind of stuck to her head. It's already gotten like volume from the original head. And let me delete this here. Okay, so now you have this hair, more or less something like this. It envelopes the entire head. Then you have the ponytail in the back, right? Remember that the hair always comes from somewhere. This will help you in determining the flow of the hair, and also later when you're trying to color the values, do some shading also. So here, you see the hair roots somewhere over here, somewhere over here. And I've noticed this in drawing times. The hair has this sort of fluffy thing. Watch this E thing. The hair is sort of a fluffy thing over there. When you do a ponytail or put your hair backwards, it's something to take notice of to make your hair look more realistic. All right. Then we go straight to the shirt. So for her shirt, since this is not a body reference, I can't really tell you much about it. So we go with the neck first, right? Her neck's a bit here. And then because she's leaning a bit forward, you get this block here for the body. Then you have a shoulder here. And then you go with her sleeves. You can actually do that and it'll be no problem. You don't have to add too much detail, just enough to show like the what do you call this? The folds of the shirt, right? Okay. So now I'm going to merge these two layers together. Afterwards, this is my process on how to color usually. So you can do like all your own processes, but for my process that makes coloring faster, you see that I have this line art here already, right? It's not clean, it's fine. I'm okay with that. If it's better clean, but usually I'm quite lazy to fix this line art. So I usually let it be a bit, leave just a bit of dirt since I'm not that interested. Then if you're trying to do some sort of, this is a reference painting, right? So you don't really have to do too much measurements and stuff. But if you do a reference painting without the tracing, I suggest you flip the image, right? Hold on. So you flip the image so you can see whether it's symmetrical or not. In this reference, since I'm tracing it straight on top of the reference, I don't really need to do this. But it's a good thing to do, since if you do that, you see your image in a more balanced way. Okay, I'm bleeding this chin here because I want to color straight up color it later. Okay, now you take the magic wand tool in Photoshop. In Krita, I don't know what it's called. Ah, that one, continuous selection tool. Then you click it up outside of the lines, right? Okay, you see those little dots here? You can just clean them up with the lasso tool. This is what I usually do. So I just press shift and select the areas that I think are messy. If it's over the selection, I press alt. Make sure you don't get mixed up in this stage with your shift and your alt. Then I press Ctrl Shift I to flip the selection. Now the selection is inside Audrey Hepburn. I go here underneath the layer. I add a color. So for the color here, usually I choose the skin color because I'm most concerned with the skin tone. But here, since it's black and white for studies, right? I'm not going to use the colors here yet. So typically I choose this color here, right? An orange tone. Usually it's most lively for light-skinned people. But if you want to make it more cartoony or like not too much highlight, you can go here. Or if you want to make it more realistic, go drag it down here. But from Audrey Hepburn's face, since you can't tell anything and she's kind of light-skinned, I'm going to go here. So this is the middle tone. I'm going to go a bit high, since from the reference, it doesn't seem that she has too much highlights going on and more to the shadow. So, and her skin's fairly light, so I'm gonna take this color, this value. We'll talk about colors in a future episode, okay? And just tap it here. Make sure your layer is like here underneath your line layer or something like that, because if it's not, you're in big trouble. Okay, so now let me try to enlarge this thing. Where's the crop button here? Okay, there's this one guy on YouTube who does this, a Korean guy, so I'm crediting him. I forgot his name. I'll link his YouTube channel in the link below. So I'm going to resize the canvas, right? The anchors from the left because I want the reference to be on the right. I'm going to make the width twice here. Okay. Now we have two boxes here. I'm going to just put the reference. Let's click reference. Okay. Then we drag the reference here. Right, so now you can see a side-by-side comparison and we can check the values together. Okay. So pay attention to the colors in the values. Okay, colors will be in the next video. Pay attention to the values. For the values here, you'll see you have to separate the things that you want to color. So in this case, you have the skin, right? I'm obviously going to put skin here. In Krita, if you want to overlay something on top of something like clipping mask, you press this A button here, this alpha button. But if you switch this to a PSD, the alpha button will be gone. So you have to be careful. It'll get pretty messy. So after this, you will have to, for example, okay, now I want the hair. I'm going to paint here. Wait, do not choose all black. See, this is a mistake of mine. If you choose all black, you won't be able to see the line art. Choose a little bit high here. If you still can't see the line art, keep going higher. It's okay if it's not the darkest black yet at this point. See, now I can see it clearly. I'm just going to do it's like a kindergarten outlining thing. So when I was at school in kindergarten, a friend of mine used to do this. She outlines the entire thing. Then I press the paint bucket tool and paint bucket on top of it. See, it's cleared. Since there's also the bottom one here, but I thought, well, it's a hassle if I just put it on another layer. I'm not a guy fond of too many layers, if possible, unless it's for file tweaking. I just put them both on one layer since the bottom one is mostly just plain black. Okay, there we go. If there's anything you need to clean it up. Done. Let's put the reference opacity back to 100%. Okay. Now I'm going to do this since the skin is our border, right? The skin is our border. Press this thing. In Photoshop, you have this option also. It's probably the brush option or something in your layer selection. In this way, you can paint whatever you want and it won't get out of the border. See? Now I have the skin isolated and I have the other blacks isolated. Now let's go and paint files on skin. So usually, the way how I see it is this. You check the light values here. You pay attention to the planes the light's hitting. And you pay attention to the shadows here also. Okay? Usually what I do is, I go from here, at first I go a little bit down, just a little bit. And paint just okay. So this is like the majority of the shadows first. I can always blend them later, or I can blend them now, it's fine. It's your preference anyways. Now if I think that the color is too dark, I can just paint a bit here. Make sure the opacity thing is on. So it depends on your pen pressure, and then just select the color and paint all over it. Okay. So here, since the lighting is not too dramatic, I'll try to paint not too dramatic at first. Oh yeah, and make sure you paint the jaw thing, okay? This jaw thing is important. It's usually the shadow, the place where the shadow hits the most, if the lighting is here. Okay. So if you want to blend, go to opacity 50-ish or a lower opacity, and then you try to blend it in. So the key point of blending is this. Stroke one time, see, the color is not really visible, select the color. Then you can go blend it and make it smoother. Make sure you color with the shape that you're going for, so you don't like, unless you're planning for a botched look, you go botch. But if you don't, you should go straight line. That's why like line training is very important. Like practicing your short lines, your long lines, your medium lines. It'll build your confidence and you'll be able to do this much better. Okay. Try to make sure that you have equal value as your reference in your right, so that so you can get the light sources correct. Go darker. Now, after you've done the first stage, you can go darker. In realism, you don't really have lines, but those lines can be substituted with super dark shadows. That's why people think that these are lines, but you need to do super dark shadows on planes that are intersecting with each other. So like this, right? And for the lips, since it's really dark, and add a bit of light here. pay attention to the detail also, but don't get too caught up in it yet, since if you do get too caught up with it, you're gonna have to spend a lot more time, to be honest. And I don't want this video to spend too much time. Then we go even lower here, right? And since Audrey's face is kind of squarish on the jaw, I'm going to have to make sure that I capture the same feeling. So here we go. Make sure that you capture the feeling of your character. Okay? Doesn't matter if it's like super realistic or not, but if you can't capture the feel of your character or the sameness, then it's your painting is not better than someone who captures the realism feel but doesn't capture the essence of it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say, lol. So here, right, I've gotten like, oh yeah, there are also two kinds of shadows. There's a smooth shadow there, and you have to make sure that you remember to drop shadow. So like when an object, normally when you draw a shadow, it's like when you're standing under a tree, the tree's branches hit you, right? Like their shapes over there. You have to pay attention to the shape of Audrey's face and make sure that the drop shadow hits on the planes where they are needed to. Oh yeah, and make sure that you know your contrast. Like, you should really know your contrast, since I've painted a lot without too much contrast and it looks pretty terrible unless you do it on the right place. For example, on the skin, I learned that you need to be kind of subtle at times, unless the lighting is dramatic, or it won't get a sense of realism. But on some places, you need, on the skin, like on the face here, you need to put the drop shadow to make it contrast, so it still looks real. Unless it's a stylistic choice, it's okay, you can do whatever you want anyways. There you go. Now you choose the main color and you go a bit brighter than that for the highlights. See? Go for the highlights. If it's too bright, remember, select the less opacity thing, the less opacity color, and just paint over it. Make sure your opacity is not 100. Make sure it's usually around 50-ish, or lower or higher. It's your taste. I'm going to explain about that in a future video on how I use my opacity bar, okay? So you'll get something like this. If like some planes you see are, oh, it's not, it feels wrong, you're gonna have to simplify it. It's fine. That's why I said go for the feel rather than the realism aspect of it, because if you go for the realism aspect more than the feel, you lose it. I've suffered that way too many times, especially when I drew as a young kid and I didn't understand the fundamentals. I lose it every time, okay? There, something like this, right? Not a perfect rendition, but it's quite alright. There are some things that I also have to learn, like realism, of course, but for the base part, we've done most of it. Okay, now we go to the other layer and we do the same thing. This time since I put the base color a bit lighter than what it's supposed to be, I can go darker. So here I'll go darker, and pay attention to where for the hair, pay attention to where the shine is. Pay attention to where the hair, usually flows, right? You're gonna have to pay attention to where the hair flows. This will make your painting more believable. And you gotta paint like one, desirably, paint a full stroke. Or paint like how the hair is supposed to be painted, right? So if it's a curly stroke, you do like curly like this, But if it's a full stroke, you do this. I'm just gonna go straight paint because I'm not gonna bore you with this. I might speed up. This has gone way too long. But to recap on how I did this, it's basically this. First, here, right? So first things first, 1, check the value. 2, magic wand plus fill. 3rd, separate. Separate or separate? I don't remember. Separate the hair, shirt, stuff like that. Okay, separate. Next, check the shadow and highlight. SH, shadow and highlight. So you check where the highlights hit, where the shadows hit, and then just paint normally, okay? So there you go. This has gone way too long. In real time, it's been about 20. How long is this? It's been 25 minutes, so I'll cut the video here. If you want to learn more about referencing Audrey Hepburn or referencing other stuff, check my video next week. I'll be posting this video every Tuesday at 3 p.m. GMT. So next week we're going to be coloring this piece. So we tackle on how we color this piece without ever even seeing color under reference, right? We try to tackle the skin color and the hair color and all the stuff like that. And for the final result, I think it's going to be something like like this. This is what I did. So we're going to try to do something like this, but I'm going to do it impromptu as usual. So it's not going to be the same, definitely not. But we're going to learn how to paint something like this in color. So if this video has been helpful to you guys, tap the like button and tap the subscribe button so you can check for these videos every single week, okay? Thank you very much. I'm Robin, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.